Germany with Sophie Krell racing in the first heat. Kleta Ridzek had a pretty good run, finished in 11th, well positioned. She's gone for heat number 3. And Lara Gimler also qualifying down 24, as you can see, for Germany. Sweden always been the battle really over the years, Mike, but Sweden's certainly superior in women's sprinting. Without Sundling and without Svan, are they in trouble?
I think Emma Riebaum and Moa Ilar, not a renowned sprinter, but she's in great form. I think they'll be challenging. They were certainly Märta Rosenberg. She won the under-23 sprint championship, world championship. So they have strong athletes in there as well.
Yeah. So 7 Norwegians qualifying for the men's last 30, and Valnes, Northug, Klæbo could possibly be a 1, 2, 3. Edvin Anger will want to prevent that. Shanava certainly likes this course. Be interesting to see how he goes. Pellegrino is good. I had a look at all the qualifying results, Mike. Generally, in the women's, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 at the halfway, finished 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There was a lot of bad pacing.
It felt that way, didn't it? So much energy up the first hill. I think I put it down to end of season fatigue. You know, the brain is still saying fire on all cylinders, but the cylinders are beginning to really not quite function as well as they did back in December, January, February.
Yeah, Nadine Feindrich took her time. In the end, went for group number 4. She's up against Joensuu. We did speculate that was in an attempt to knock Joensuu out, because if Feindrich is going to win the sprint title this year, she has got to claw back a lot of points on Joensuu today, because there is only one sprint remaining after this. Pellegrino, Shanava, Klæbo, they all knew exactly where they wanted to go. Klæbo doesn't even need to look at the buttons anymore. It's just number 1. They might as well press it for him.
And that's to buy himself more recovery time, isn't it? Get out, do the business, make it through to the semis. Job done.
But as well as making a statement, as in, I'm scared of no one.
Entirely, because he plays a lot of psychological games.
So the clock clicking down to the start of the first heat of the women's. 5 heats, remember, 6 in each. 2 go through, 2 fastest lucky losers to make 12 for the semi-finals in around 25 minutes time. Plenty of time to recover. France Pignot, slowest qualifier in this heat. Julie Mira, she's strong. Only two Norwegians in this first heat. She's going to be up against her teammate Skistad. Sophie Krell of Germany didn't really want to go for heat number 1, but she had no choice. Skistad, tall, imposing and hungry, having missed out on the gold at the World Championships on her home tracks. Julia Kern looking good. I think you know, she's on the rise, Mike, as everyone else is starting to tire. She's going well, as is Moa Ilar, the winner of the 10K in Oslo. So quite a high, classy field for the first heat. And it'd be interesting to see. She starts so often, number 5, goes out fast, then settles down once she's got control of the race. Let's see if that's what happens this time round.
She kind of hesitated there, didn't she? But you're right, she'll try and go to the front. But then she won't want to lead it down the final time. Of course, 2 laps they're completing of this first climb, which they spin back round, come up a second time. Very steep at the top of this climb.
Yeah. But she's about 6 inches taller than most, so she has a longer stride, and she needs more room than most. And the best place to be out of trouble is up the front. Julie Kern leading the column on the right-hand side, but Skistad's got the inside line, so covering less ground. Now, quite a fast bit of downhill coming up once they've completed the traverse of the plateau, as they call it. It's only about 100 meters at the most, and you want a bit of space going down here into the right-hand turn.
I think Skistad was very clever. She looked to her right when Julia Kern was coming past. She wanted her to come past. She backed off a little, and that makes sense. Now she can slingshot, or is she going to try and go left and pass her? Well, that's tight trying to pass.
Yeah, carrying good speed. I think she's learned a lesson for next time round. We've got two fallers at the back, three fallers on the very first run. So Moa Ilar has gone down. Germany's Sophia Kroh is down. And I think Pignot of France has gone down as well.
Three just wiped out. That corner is going to be really testing, and all the other athletes to take part will have learned something there. To be careful.
Yeah.
It's not easy to be careful.
Is it that different from earlier on? Well, the biggest difference is that first time round, they were on their own doing a time trial. Now they've got the others to worry about. You don't necessarily get the perfect line into that corner. Schiestatz is absolutely cruising, Mike. She won't be too fussed, I don't think, about Julia Kern. She'll certainly want to follow the American down the downhill.
I don't think Julia Kern was aware that three had fallen. Now she will be. She realizes that she's safe and she's clear. Or maybe the two Norwegians will have a different way of thinking about my analysis.
Schiestatz is absolutely cruising. And I think it's all about conservation. Now she puts in a little burst. Be interesting to see if Julie Mira has the nerve to get ahead of her teammate, who is one of the favourites to win here today. But Kern has got this one in the bag, but she's worked for it somewhat unnecessarily.
And that's her teammate she was playing tactics with. I thought they would tuck in behind Julia Kern because it's important to get a good time. And I think that that the third person here won't qualify through to the semi-final.
Well, Kern's had an easy ride, and she's had a thing, although cutting it fine, 0.1 of a second. Mira will have to wait and see, but I cannot believe that that's going to be a lucky loser time, Mike, after the speed. Kern on brilliant form, or Schiestatz playing it tactically to perfection?
Oh, Schiestatz is very efficient. Julia took the bait, she took the lead, but she looks great, she's sparking well. I'm really disappointed not to see Moa Ilar on great form. She won up in Oslo. She fell. Let's have a look. It was Pignot on the inside, really.
Yeah, Pignot losing that inside edge, taking out the German Sophie Kroh. Yeah, give yourself some space.
I think this is the best we've seen Julia Kern. She believes in herself more now, making 5th place at the World Championship. She's a distance racer now. It's all coming together.
So 2:44.56. Don't read too much into that time. Looking for a competitive heat, and actually heat number 2 is pretty competitive, Mike. 9, 10, 12 and 14 from the qualifying rounds. So one, they produced a reasonably similar time. Secondly, they will all believe they can beat each other.
They will, and even Lena Conton, Bib 18, she came 5th here 2 years ago, her best result ever, so she loves this place.
Lotte Udnesveng, one of 2 Norwegians in this heat. There's Lena Conton. Interesting to see what she can do. Matilda Meervold, number 26. And Yasmin Kahara, her teammate, sits atop the sprint standings at the moment. And Switzerland, of course, with Nadine Feindrich, who goes in heat number 4. Emma Ribom of Sweden. So we're underway, heat number 2, and pretty solid start. I would imagine that Lotte Udnesveng would want to control the pace up the climb for the first time.
Emma Ribom on our left, a fine pace she started with. Looks like she wants to dictate, or at least play safe on this first climb.
Yeah, Ribom over on the far side. Lotte Udnesveng actually tucked in behind Matilda Meervold, who leads, and looks as though Meervold is going to have the lead down the first downhill. Everyone will have seen what happened first time around and know that you're in a much better position if you come down 2nd or 3rd. And then just wondering about this corner, Mike, just trying to set it up. We've got a little climb and then a long left-hand descending corner that leads down towards the finish and, of course, the exchange when they start the second loop. It's about as tight as it was last time.
Safe.
But we go in with 6, we come out with 6.
Yes, I was going to comment, Meervold at the top of this climb coming up for the second time. I like the way she went wide on the right side to really bring more pace, and it's very wet on the inside, and she carried a lot more energy initially than Emma Ribon.
So Meervold leads, Ribon in 2, Weng in 3, Canton of France down in 4. They're all very much in the race at the moment. Switzerland's Leah Fischer in 5th position. And at the back of the field for Finland, Yasmin Kahara needs to just crank it up a little bit.
I would say her brain is sending those messages to her legs, but are they responding? I think they might be.
Well, she's running out of time, because from the top of the climb, you would have thought you need to be in the top 4 if you're going to be able to squeeze through and finish in the top 2. Ribon goes from 2nd to 1st. Meervold in the perfect position in my book, coming down this descent. Keep an eye on her in 2nd position. Weng just behind her, hasn't really made any moves so far, Weng. And is it harder to go past a teammate than someone from another country?
It is. You feel a bit guilty. You might take them out if you're leaving it tight beside them. But Lotte Udnes Weng, great glide on her skis.
Yeah, and Weng should get a clean run into the finish, but Emma Ribon has made life difficult. Lena Canton with a nice tight line around that last corner on the right-hand side of the screen, starting to make ground. It's going to be Ribon who takes, I think, Meervold just squeezes 2nd ahead of Canton, and Lotte Udnes Weng 2:41.8. Quick enough to have a lucky loser slot at the moment. But for how long, we will find out.
That's a good time, Patrick, compared to our Julia Kern, of course, backed off. It was more a tactical outing in the first heat. This was pretty much full pace from Emma Ribon and Meervold.
Well, with the conditions slightly quicker than we saw 2 years ago, I feel the positioning around that last corner is crucial, Mike. So far, the first round has won, and second round has come second. We may see a few changes, but I think precious few, because it's such a short time to pick up speed again. That last corner is crucial to be going at good speed and in exactly the right position.
Yeah, I thought Lotte Udnes Weng was caught sleeping on the line. Canton did get through by 6/100ths of a second. And Lotte Udnes Weng didn't stretch her leg forward. That cost her maybe a final position or a semi-final position.
Maybe, but we'll see whether Lotte Udnes Weng is a lucky loser at the moment. But she's the second of the lucky losers. 25, Melissa Gall. She's on a yellow card, so needs to be a little bit careful. The yellow card's sticking all the way through the season. That's what caught Anderson out in Oslo last week. Colette Ridzek for Germany. Strong sprinter, 7th in the sprint standings this year. Maya Dahlqvist, 4th place in the standings. She is only, Mike, 6 points behind Feindrich. So if she beats Feindrich today, she's in the hunt for the Crystal Globe as well.
Oh, spicy.
Yeah, really important, actually. If Dahlqvist can win today, maybe she's on for that Crystal Globe. 27 is Johanna Hauge Harviken. Here we go, Heat 3. 2 fastest qualifiers. Number 7, Dahlqvist. Number 8, Federica Cassol, who had a very good finish. And then Colette Ridzek, who's wearing 11 and on the near side, leading that left-hand column, or pair. Ridzek I think, should fancy her chances of going through here.
Casol, bib number 8, she looked so relaxed compared to the frantic, the frenzy of those around her, and she easily made her way to the front.
Yeah, just having a look at the climb, it's already cut up fairly significantly since the start, and this is only heat number 3, but they do use the hill twice on every race. So I think by the time the men's final comes, Mike, it's going to be as soft as it was in Trondheim.
It's splashing up. I thought maybe they'd done some work on it prior to between the qualification to these heats, but it's actually fine. It's fair for all, but you do need to be careful. Oh, Casol, her skis are not gliding. I know she was at the front. The others had a bit of a slingshot, but that's a disadvantage for the Italian now going out in third.
Well, she might be better tucked in rather than out front, ready to be shot at. Maja Dahlqvist looking very purposeful as she breaks to the left and starts the climb again. I don't think we'll see her put in too much effort, but she could do with either coming around that top corner in second or being 5 meters clear, but that is an expensive approach.
Look at Casol going out wide there. That part of the track is actually harder. That's where she made it look easy last time, and she's slowly working her way up to the front. It's quite wet on the inside left lane here.
Yeah, it's a little bit firmer on that right-hand side, as you say, Mike, but once you get to the top, it's a little bit further to travel. It probably evens out.
It's the long way round, absolutely.
So Casol and Dahlqvist side by side. Germany's Coletta Ridzek sitting in third place. Norway have Harviken in fourth at the moment, certainly not out of it at this stage. And then Pulis of Estonia, and we've got Melissa Gall of France back in fifth, is it, at the moment? No, she's dropped back down into sixth place. I think no way she can qualify from there. And there's a bit of a bun fight coming into that left-hand turn, and it's Ridzek of Germany who squeezes her way through on the inside. Casol now has got some work to hold off Dahlqvist of Sweden, and Dahlqvist has got clean snow. She's coming through. She's going to take the top spot. Ridzek easing it down, and the fastest time 2:45.2. Photo finish for Casol. They need to be inside, well, they needed to be inside 2:41, so they're miles outside lucky losers. And Dahlqvist and Ridzek go through.
Oh, Casol, I think I was going to say a little unlucky. Maybe she didn't quite get her strategy right, and certainly the skis weren't equal with certainly Dahlqvist, possibly Ridzek as well. With the headwind coming down that descent, Casol set herself up really to be pounced upon, and it really has cost her dearly.
Well, Dahlqvist certainly doesn't seem to have overextended herself there. 2:45.23 to go through, and she will be up against Kern and Riebolm and Skistat and Meervold. That semi-final looking a little bit tougher. One lucky loser will squeeze into that semi-final as well. The only qualifier so far for semi-final number 2 is Coletta Ridzek, and she will meet the top 2 from this next heat. You would expect Switzerland to be there, but perhaps not Anja Weber. I think it's more likely to be Nadine Feindrich. Number 23, Marta Rosenberg of Sweden, the new breed of Swede coming up. Success leads to success. Katarina Janatova of Czechia, very experienced racer indeed, but the hot favourite, Nadine Feindrich, fastest in qualifying, the time of 2:42.7. If she does that, there's absolutely no doubt she's going through. And there's your number 1 in the Sprint World Cup standings. Now, Feindrich, Mike, 1 win, 4 podiums. Yuentsu, 1 second place, but she has been in 5 finals.
Yeah, big contrast. So, yeah, it's on paper, Yuan Su doesn't have you could say the strategy or the final punch over the last 20 meters. This will be interesting.
Yeah, and Sundling 160 points. I don't actually see how she can catch Yuan Su, to be honest. It's mathematically it's possible, but if Yuan Su gets through to the final of Lahti, the final sprint of the season, I think the trophy is hers.
That was interesting from Marta Rosenberg. She went all the way. She went from the left side all the way over to the right side to try and get a benefit from this slightly harder pressed section of snow.
I think they were listening to you. Well, you can see how much snow they've laid down. It's a good... they had 1.5 meters at one stage. Actually, so much easier to prepare for a sprint event, isn't it, Mike? And, you know, even Scotland at this time of year, it's been bitterly cold over the last, 10 days or so.
Oh, totally. The Cairngorms right now look beautiful with the snow down to 550 meters. Yeah, and -5 each night. Beautiful.
So halfway round the first of 2 laps, and this is pretty intense racing round the corner. Now they know what that feels like. Sitting at the back of the pack, we have Ignatova and Weber. Just looking for Feindrich. Feindrich back in 4th or 5th place at the moment, Mike. Happy just to sit there and wait. And now she sees a gap and has gone for it on the inside, just as the Swedish athlete Moa Lundgren moves over to the right-hand side.
I think Moa Lundgren made an error there. She was owning the left side. Yes, it's a little slower, but to then move into 2nd, 3rd place on the right side, she's lost a lot of that advantage.
Yeah. Yuan Su up in 2nd, where she wants to be, just needs to sit on the tails of Nadine Feindrich. About 160 points between them in the World Cup standings going into the start of day. Actually, it's just under 157.
Ignatova 3rd place. She's definitely not out of it yet. I would say she'll carry good momentum down here. She may well threaten Yuan Su.
Well, that's some good downhill speed from Feindrich, and Yuan Su now under pressure from Katerina Ignatova, and Ignatova gets through on the inside. 2:41.7, the lucky loser's times at the moment, and Ignatova could knock the World Cup leader, the Sprint World Cup leader, out of this one. 2:40, it's pretty quick, I think Yuan Su is there as a lucky loser at the moment, and Anja Weber squeezes in as well, so Canton and Lotte Udnisveng are out of the contest, but we still have 1 heat to go.
That was
very, very convincing.
That was so convincing. Yuan Su wasn't so convincing. If she tucked in behind Feindrich, she might have had a better chance, but Feindrich, this was an explosive turn of pace.
I think Moa Lundgren, I should say, handed it to her on the plate, Mike, by drifting over to that right-hand side on the 2nd climb.
She opened the gate, she opened the door. Feindrich was a little cheeky, I thought, trying to break through on the inside, because Lundgren owned that snow, but then she moved over to the right, let her through. I think that Yuan Su might be lucky as a lucky loser, just checking the times. Canton was 1:41.70.
Yeah, Yuan Su is certainly in lucky loser, and actually I think Weber is in there as well. Weber is at 1:10, just squeezes in to knock Lotte Udnisveng out of the contest. One first round heat to go for the women, and Johanna Hagström there wearing 3, the hot favourite to win this one. Her qualifying time 2:42. The next fastest was 2:46.5. So Hagström should be able to cruise this on her way through to semi-final number 2. Laura Gimler certainly strong enough to shake it up a little bit. Gimler, the best of the Germans on the Sprint World Cups this year. There's Alina Meyer, looked pretty happy with the way things went in qualifying. Interviewed about 5 minutes before she got her breath back. Johanna Hagström, of Sweden, powerful skier. And Hagström powerful skier, and Hagström won the first sprint of the season, second in the second sprint. Ruka and Lillehammer, one classic, one freestyle, so bit of an all-rounder. There's hardly anyone who's left as a specialist in the sprinting world, is there?
It doesn't feel that way anymore, does it? They can do distance, they can do sprinting.
Yeah. So a powerful start from Johanna Hagström, definitely wanting to control the pace on the climb. But on the inside, Germany's Laura Gimler with a very, very slick start. Now she eases it down. Gimler, a tall figure, long glide, needs a bit of space on her way up the climb.
I think Hagström, with her bad luck at the World Championship, she would easily have qualified into the semi-final. She was set up to make it easily, and then she fell in the final corner. So I think we'll see some real determined performance here from bib 3.
Yeah, saw quite a few fallers in Trondheim. We've already had a few fallers here on the very first heat. Pignot of France going out. Sophie Creel crashing out. So 46 kph. That'd be interesting. I hope we get a flash up of the speed in the men's. I would imagine they're closing in on the 50k an hour. So much of that downhill speed, Mike, depends on how you attack it at the top.
Yes, the force off, if you carry weight over the crest of this single climb, which they do twice, massive advantage. Jonsson, I felt the red suit second from back. Bib 16, she's been restless, she's been desperately trying to get through. Now's her chance to go wide and try and get past the traffic.
Yeah, she does exactly that, and is followed by Switzerland's Alina Meyer, but Hagström wearing 3, just controlling things again with Germany's Laura Gimler, who qualified in 24th position. So Gimler looking much, much better than she did in qualifying just over an hour and a half ago, and Gimler still has the pole position on that inside of the turn, and just tying up as she gets to the top of the climb. That doesn't bode well for the final sprint from Gimler, and that allows Hagström to open up a lead of what, 2 meters. It's not much, but watch that 2 meters turn into 10 when she rounds the next corner.
Oh, she's trying. Sammy Smith really tried at the back. She couldn't get through, the American, only 19-year-old, but sadly she's not going to make it unless there's a fall coming up on the final bend.
Well, credit to Gimler, she's still there, but Del Rio is going well. Alina Meyer back in 4th place at the moment. She's out of this one, and Hagström, when it matters most, goes to the front and just controls the pace. It looks to me as though Gimler's going to miss this one. 2:42, no lucky losers, and Del Rio of Andorra with a really well-timed sprint to claim 2nd place, get herself through to the semi-finals. But Hagström really was the class act in that heat.
Hagström was brilliant there, Patrick. I felt just she didn't expend any more than she needed to. I thought it was a little risky. She expected to get those 10 meters you mentioned. It was about 7 or 8, and it allowed them to come back in on her. Del Rio is sharp. She reads the track well, and that's a real shame for Gimler. She just got roadblocked.
Yeah, Del Rio well positioned on the inside, but Del Rio, Mike, a much tighter turn on that final corner, which is good because it's less distance, but it's quite difficult to hold a lot of speed. A bit like the difference between a carved turn and a skidded turn on an alpine ski. It's got to be a clean turn. You've got to get purchased with the edge of the ski, and then you can carry the speed into the finish, which Gina Del Rio did really well. The Andorran getting through in 2nd, and Laura Gimler is out in the 1st round.
He's got his pit stop crew, hasn't he? Just sorting his boots out.
Straight on to the men's. Well, they're pretty much on time, Mike. 5:27 UK time. The first heat was due to start. Well, 5:27 and 30 seconds. And by my reckoning, the Estonians have a reputation for punctuality.
I think they do. I mean, they're very organised. The city's lovely. I was only up here in the summer months, but beautiful city.
Lucas Chaneva of France up against his great rival Klæbo yet again. For everyone else, this is really an experience. Stolben, Moilanen, Laikari and Evan Northug. But there's your number one. It seems that Klæbo's fan base is growing. Evan Northug, what he would give to just put Klæbo's star in the shade for a little bit, Mike.
So many would love to. And Northug, I think he's got something to prove here.
Northug wearing 29, Klæbo in yellow. Number 24 is Jan Stolben. Lucas Chaneva of France wearing 2 and taking the lead in the early stages. And Finland's Moilanen up there as well. Laikari wearing 28. But Chaneva and Klæbo, as we've seen so many times, Mike, because they both go for Group 1 and they just dictate the pace.
They do, and well, that slightly harder journey for Chaneva on the inside. They're certainly trying to slow it down again here, surprisingly, because the pack will stay with them easily on the descent first time.
Yeah, I think they've been a bit lucky. You know, you've mentioned the wind a few times, but the wind is blowing up the hill, which is great, and it doesn't really, it just slows you down a little bit on the downhill.
Yeah, this section here, this is where the wind is felt more, and not
round this corner.
Yep, and you can see the pack coming back in.
Klæbo, the hands in the perfect ready position, ready to draw whatever pistols he has on his hip.
And he was reading the probably setting himself up for the middle stroke right section of this hill climb. If it's slightly faster, he'll find it. Evan Northug looking pretty. That tempo's good. He's trying to pass Klæbo now, and he knows that's probably his best chance. Take him on this hill, but it's a slim chance.
Yeah, he wants to be in the slipstream of the number one when he comes into the next fall, and that's the difference, Mike. The top of the climb, Klæbo's still light on the feet, Chaneva still powering away, and Evan Northug's technique certainly changes. I would suspect that his pulse rate is 10-15 beats per minute higher than the 2 in front of him. We will see what he's got left. Only 3 really left in this race as they come into the left-hand corner. It's a 180-degree turn. It's soft as well, and it's Chaneva who leads. Klæbo now goes for the inside, which puts him into first position, and a couple of delicate little steps. Northug's all over the place. Klæbo, Chaneva and Northug, just as the ranking says it should be, and that's going to be the order of the first heat. Watch the time, 2:23.9. And we are, what, 17 seconds quicker than the fastest time in the women's first round. That was blisteringly quick, and I think Evan Northug may find himself with a qualifying slot for the semis.
He might do. He made a mistake on the corner coming out of he'd lost his energy. I think his right ski, Northug, had pressed too deep. It almost spun him round, and he lost so much of his momentum. Chaneva and Klæbo made this look easy, but it's killing off the athletes behind who are on absolute survival, full pace, and these two at the front make it look easy. This is where Northug has a look at him on the right side there. He so nearly stumbles, lost his pole plant, lost his momentum, and that cost him dearly. Klæbo is a magician. He sees everything. He's aware of where the track is better, where he should make his moves, how he should corner, and the energy out.
And I think consistently, we often see him change his tactics as the night goes on, Mike. But I think tonight he will always want the lead going around that final corner. Or do you think he'll want to prove he can do it from the back as well? I don't think so on this occasion. I think that finishing straight's just a little bit short.
I thought that Shanava was almost cursing himself for leading down that descent, because both Norwegians came past him. He was a little lucky, I think, Shanava.
So 2 qualifiers for the first semi. Klæbo and Shanava will do it again. Moylan and Northug with 2:25.6 and 2:24.4. Lucky losers at the moment. And this is the second heat. Jack Young squeezed through. Now that hat has to cost him 0.5 of a second each time round.
The tallest.
Emil Danielsson of Sweden.
A little
more slipstream.
Yep.
Michael Novak of Czechia made the last 30 last time he was here. Harald Østberg Amundsen. Amundsen third place in the overall rankings at the moment. He's still some way behind Edvin Anger with only 3 races to go, so he needs to pick up good points over the Swedish superstar. There's Pellegrino, hugely popular wherever he goes, and O.O. Vika for Norway to complete the lineup for this second heat. So where they go, Emil Danielsson he's not short of an inch or two, Mike. Like Anger, they must feed them something special in central Sweden.
It seems that way. Some giants up there in Sweden. This is going to be spicy. I think Pellegrino probably finding himself an unwilling leader at this stage, although he's going to be passed there on the crest. And then the pace, that's Amundsen going past.
Yeah, Amundsen being invited past, really, by Jensen of Norway. Pellegrino knowing that he needs to be right on the tail of the Norwegians as he let himself drift a little bit too far back. Look and see if the Italian in third, does he close the gap? Not really on that downhill, and he's not carrying too much more speed over the flat section either. This is where he'll gain. He's so good on the corners. So number 6 leading at the moment, Amundsen. Got Vika in there as well. Pellegrino is now settling, preparing for the second lap.
Amundsen, Patrick, his lactic levels will be exploding. The way he turned the pace up first time, but he's determined to do the same again. It's costly, but that's probably his safest bet because he often gets into a tangle in second, third, fourth place.
Yeah, but Amundsen is a distant skier, Mike. So really, if he's gonna do something here, he's got to go hard from the gun, which is exactly what he's done so far. And I think the likes of Pellegrino will not be thanking him for it. It's going to be a pretty mean pace. 2:25, 2:24, the 2 lucky loser times at the moment.
This time is brutal. This Amundsen is really killing this field off. Will they come back in? I'm not sure they will.
I think he's done the damage. Vika can't live with it. Amundsen has Pellegrino on his heels. Doesn't really matter about where they finish, as long as they finish in the top 2. And Pellegrino will just make sure that Vika doesn't come past. And Vika won't, but Pellegrino, that's an unnecessary sprint. He just didn't need that. He didn't need that, and he may pay for that in the semis.
That was an incredible heat. I'm going to say unnecessary, but it wasn't. Amundsen needed to make the top 2, and he's achieved that, but at a price. 2 seconds faster than, over 2 seconds faster than Klæbo's first heat.
So what were the tactics behind Pellegrino there? Was that, I'm not going to get beaten by the best distance athlete, one of the best distance athletes in the world. I'm a sprinter, he's not.
Yeah, I felt maybe that he was worried about Vik. He knew in his peripheries that he had another Norwegian suit. And I think he was just playing reducing risk in case Wieck came through fast.
Well, an interesting heat, Mike, and yeah, it'd be nice to have an interview with Pellegrino to find out what that was all about.
Yeah, I'm with you. It was a little unnecessary, but status, making a point, testing his finish for the semi.
I don't think he needs, you know, the second most successful sprinter ever doesn't need to make any points. Amundsen knows he's quicker over a shorter distance. But anyway, it was a good show, and Pellegrino gets the win in that second heat. So 2 down, 3 to go. And then we're on to the women's semi-finals. Anton Grahn of Sweden, one of the under-23 athletes. Well, I wonder where your money is here. Surely the bulk of it will be on Erik Valnes, will it not, Mike, number 4?
Oh, he's such a bull charging around the tracks. I think so. He's got so much strength. The tempo's great when it comes to the top of that climb. And he may have watched Amundsen and thought, that's maybe where I'll take this this third heat.
Sweden with Grahn. They still have Edvin Anger still to come. He chose group number 5, Anger, so we've got a while before we see him in action. Joan Pueyo, brilliant from Spain, looked very sharp indeed, really agile on the skis, and he might need that here today. Mats William Jensen for Norway, just 24. Fenauger, very experienced, 33, must be sort of getting into the back end of his career. And Valnes, who had a back issue in Trondheim, missed the sprint event, but recovered well and got himself some medals at the World Championships. So Schumacher on the left of your screen. Valnes for Norway wearing 4, the favourite. Renauget wearing 17, and Valnes making good progress. The 2 Norwegians out front almost instantly. Jensen in 10, Valnes is 4, and then Pueyo of Spain, Mike, just a very steady pace, keep the lactic levels down and save something for the end.
Pueyo, he looks so relaxed. I love his balance, his technique, and the way he moves. He changes gear quickly. Oh, this is spicy, going wide. That's a surprise. Anton Grahn, least experienced, taking the initiative.
Yeah, Grahn is the one who's doing what Amundsen did 5 minutes ago. This part of the course still looks as though it's just slowing down a little bit as the top part of the surface gets cut up. Easy, Ozzy, everyone a little bit wary on that corner, Mike, after the mass fall that we had in the women's first heat. I think everyone saw that and thought, okay, show it some respect. And who's that driver? We got Grahn with a broken pole, so he's out of it.
It seemed
That's
as
a
if
shame.
On the corner, I think his ski, the end of his ski pole, the basket area, someone clipped it or chopped off the basket. No power. He's out of the game.
Yeah, I heard the crack, but I didn't see it.
What a shame. He really was out there with a mission.
Eric's he's not gonna chase this one.
Erik Valnes, playing the bullish tactic, just break them down over the top of this rise if he can.
Well, Valnes, Mike, if he wins this, goes into the first of the semis, which is probably what he wants to do, but he's had to win it hard, and in that semi-final, he will have had less rest than anyone else, so not sure that it works, but maybe it was safer than going for group number 1, where he would have been up against Clabo and, of course, Lucas Chanavar of France.
It's not over yet. Renauget needs to keep his line. Oh!
Jay's going to take this one, I think, and he does claim second place, 2:22. Pretty quick time as well. Jack Young of USA, who had a 2:24.04, is out, and Jensen of Norway goes in as lucky loser for now, but with 2 heats still remaining. Valnes is through as we would have expected, and Jay was only, what, the 4th fastest qualifier in that heat. Unlucky for Anton Grant, 30th in qualifying, so I guess he was a bit lucky to come through, but there's no room for error in this game. I think we've only ever seen someone break a pole and go on to win, and that was Pellegrino.
That's so true. I thought he was very brave here, Gran. He had no fear. That's good news for his future. And then the only undoing was getting his ski pole skied over and broken. Valnes with all the power and so much more, so much force coming off the top of this high point to make sure that he didn't allow Slipstream in behind him. And I don't know what happened to Jensen here, William Jensen, as if something happened to his ski binding. Just seemed to lose his footing at the end. Renauget, that was a powerful, forceful, positive finish. All these heats are pretty fast. There's a 2 challenging the second semi in terms of the second they finished in.
So heat number 4. Benny Moser of Austria. I think this could be quite a lively heat. Benny Moser and Ben Ogden going head-to-head. There's Larry Vernon, the bronze medalist from the World Championships in Trondheim. First time the Finns had taken a medal in a sprint freestyle event. Ben Ogden, it appears to me he's trying to adopt the Jesse Diggins approach of, look good, feel good, race good. And he's always got a big smile on his face. We'll see how he gets on today. Ansgar Evensen for Norway could be a tricky obstacle for the likes of Moser and Ogden and Jules Chapard, of course. And there's Noah Naif of Switzerland on the outside. The Swiss excited by the progress so far of Nadine Feindrich, who's looking for her second win of the season. Here we go, heat 4. Again, top 2 to go through. Only Renauget so far has made the second of the semis, and maybe Jules Chapard in the French colours will join him, but not a brilliant start from Chapard. Doesn't seem to have the power of the others, Mike, number 9.
I'm surprised. I was about to say it's similar engine and bullish capacity to Eric Valnes, but he had a poor start. He wanted that line in first position. Now he has to readjust his thinking. Evensen really putting his stamp on it, isn't he? That was an amazing turn of pace.
Yeah, I really like the alignment of Ogden. I think it's a really efficient technique on the climb. Everything moving in the right direction. The upper body movement is kept to a minimum. The balance is perfect. And this is slightly more composed than we've seen from Ogden in the past, Mike. Just happy to sit in second.
He's doing everything right. He's just watching good skis coming through on the inside. That's
the same line that Klæbo took. I think that inside line is a little bit quicker. It's been skied on less, so I think if you can keep your balance and keep the purchase on the skis round that corner, you gain, 4 or 5 metres Vernon gained there.
He did, and he was clever at the top of the descent last time, Vernon. And, of course, he's very much buoyed from his bronze medal at the World Championships in sprinting.
Yeah, now comes Chapaz on the left-hand side of your screen, wearing 9. He's made 3 or 4 places over the last 50 metres. Wow. Great work from him. Ogden decides to go with the Frenchman on the inside for Norway. We've got Evensen. And we're down to 3. I think we're down to 3. Noah Naif, I'm not sure, is going to quite get on the back of this, but a stumble from Evanson might give the Swiss athlete a chance to get up into the top 3.
Ben Ogden has played his cards so well. He's done everything right so far, but the important left-hander coming up soon.
Oh, Evanson again stumbles. Go left, go left. It seems to be quicker. Ogden just following Chapaz of France at the moment. Chapaz blocks the way. He gets top position going into the last 100 metres. And it's going to be France and the USA who get a qualifier for the second semi-final. Evanson, Naif will miss out on this occasion, and Vuuranen, the bronze medalist from the World Championships, nowhere to be seen, down in 5th, 2:44.4.
Actually surprised to see that Evanson at the moment, that is a lucky loser time.
Yeah.
But
the fastest, sorry Mike, the fastest lucky loser is Vika at the moment with a 2:22.5.
Evanson, he was surprised they got away. He wanted to contain them. Ben Ogden, for me, played the almost the perfect race to shade in behind Chapaz.
Yeah, Chapaz is sort of conserving in the early stages, I think, because we were both surprised that he got off to such a slow start. Proved to be a good move. And Evanson,
that's his mistake.
You know, one stumble you can put down to the conditions, Mike, but he had 2 or 3 on that last lap, which would suggest to me that the legs were shot.
Without a doubt, one stumble. But, you know, you need to be braced for the soft snow. It can take you by surprise. But, yes, he got about 3-4 stumbles, which cost him dearly.
So there you have confirmation. Chapaz and Ogden are through. Evanson has to wait and see. 0.89. He's got the second fastest lucky loser, and there's 1 heat to go. So the lineup for the last heat with Riebly and Anger should be pretty classy. Anger with a 2:24.8, and Remy Baudin, Mike, who was just behind him, or the next position behind him, 2:24.4. So 2.5 seconds between those two in the qualifying run. Certainly the qualifying so close that we haven't really been able to get much out of it, except the winner. It would have been very, very difficult to predict the second place in each of these heats. Surely this is Anger's to take. Jelle Beerbers, the under-23 World Cup leader, Anger, and he's sitting in second place in the overall, thanks to his improved distance racing this year. Remy Baudin of France. Joni Mäki of Finland.
Well, on paper and in qualifying, there's not much separating these 6 athletes, and this is going to be, I think, even tighter than the previous heats we've seen.
Yeah, just what is it, 2.2 seconds separating all of them in qualifying, and that could easily have come down to their start positions. But you would expect Anger, we didn't see the whole of Anger's run, Mike, but we were both a little bit surprised that he wasn't a fraction quicker. He finished 7th. Generally, he's in the top 3 or 4.
Yes, he's hungry. He's tactically very good. He's got great balance. I felt already, Patrick, at the top of that rise, we were not in the time frame that can achieve a lucky loser. I could be wrong, but it wasn't the strongest start.
Second climb is very important. Makinic of Austria with a surprisingly quick start. They're wearing 15, and he should be able to control the pace on the initial part of the final climb. He's got the inside line. Anger is going wide. He needs the space, And he may just squeeze those on the inside as they start the climb for the second time. Number 5, Yannick Riebly, the quickest qualifier from this heat, but he's back in 5th place at the moment, and Riebly needs to make a move. He wants to be in a good tactical position at the top of this climb. Anger's going to be forced wide at the moment, Mike, because of the effort going in from Remy Baudin.
Whoa, but Anger needs to get a good 5-10 metres off this crest if he wants to ride alone into the finish, but he's not going to achieve that. Baudin is playing a good game.
And 19, Michael Hellweger of Italy. Now, if Hellweger can negotiate these next 2 turns well, he might be able to close the gap, but it looks pretty substantial at the moment.
Edwin Anger has been a brave race at the front all the time, Patrick. He just needs to keep it, hold his nerves. They're going to come back closer to him, but I think he's safe.
Yeah, he's safe. Top 2 are safe. We're looking for those lucky loser slots. 2:22 or 2:23 if the third man across the line beats that, which he won't. No lucky losers out of this heat. So Vika and Evanson are the 2 lucky losers, both from Norway. Evanson, I think, is going to go into semi-final number 2. Vika will go into semi-final number 1. And Anger and Baudin join Chapazen, Ogden and Jay. So 3 Frenchmen in the second semi. Should at least get 1 through.
They hope. Anger now for selecting Heat 5. This is where he'll pay the price with lack of recovery time. But for me, Anger looked clinical, determined, absolutely focused. And he played it so well throughout that final of the 5 heats.
I was trying to remember what Anger's story was at the World Championships. Finished down in 11th place, and he was the man who was expected to give Klæbo a run for his money.
He was. He just didn't. He didn't have it. You know, you felt that the skis, I don't think, Patrick, were matching the Norwegians, and he just could not chase on that last 400 metres.
So there you have it. 2:23.86, the winning time from Anger, and he has got himself into semi-final number 2. A little bit of work going on the tracks prior to the start of the women's semi-finals. Kern, Dahlqvist, Ribon, Skistad, Meervold, Weber. It's quite a high-powered semi-final number 1. Mike, I wonder whether you think Feindrich did the right thing going into the back end of the draw, because she looks to have a much easier semi-final than Dahlqvist and Skistad.
Yeah, interesting. But the only thing is the lack of recovery time, or the reduced recovery time.
Skistad. She played a very, very canny game on the first round, did no more than she needed. Julia Kern made absolutely sure she was getting through to the semi-finals. Maja Dahlqvist was strong, the Swedish hopes resting on her shoulders today in the absence of Sundling and Svan. And then Emma Ribon. Semi-final number 1. Exactly the same rules as all the previous rounds. Top 2 go through and 2 lucky losers. So we end up with a final of 6. And Skistad again, Mike, as she always does, goes out hard, slows the pace down almost instantly, just into that easy rhythm of hers. It works well. I think not only has she got a bit stronger since we first saw her in Seefeld at the World Championships, but she's learning bit by bit. She's learning the pacing, she's learning how to control the race, and she's learning essentially what her body can cope with.
It's very interesting, and you're right, she wants space initially because she's so tall, she needs space. She wants to slot into second place, but she hasn't quite gone close enough, but she'll probably slide in behind Dahlqvist. Yes, she plays a very clever game. Dahlqvist will now need to think of a strategy. Will she attack from the first lap into the second climb up aggressively? I don't think she'll get rid of Skistad, who's letting Dahlqvist know she's on her left-hand side.
Yeah, so Skistad starts tight, drifts wide, avoids the ski tips of Dahlqvist. I wonder whether Anja Weber had a little talk with Nadine Feindrich. Feindrich would have said, work them hard, do whatever you can, make sure it's not a slow pace. I want Skistad and Dahlqvist exhausted by the time they get to the final.
Yeah, and I do wonder that reach out. I didn't see, did she actually touch Dahlqvist? Generally, you're not really necessarily allowed to put your arm out and say, listen, this is my space, don't come near me.
So again, it's pretty steady pace.
It is.
It's not all out at this stage, which is great news for the leaders, but it's also good news for the likes of Meervold, who's sitting in behind Skistad at the moment.
Julia Kern.
Over on the Julia Kern looking good.
Yeah, she's just coming through now. She knows she needs to be up with the front 2 or 3.
Meervold in 9.
Yep.
Kern wearing 6. Yeah, looking for a little bit of space, desperate to make sure she gets into 3rd position. I think she's achieved that. She has. So Dahlqvist leads, Skistad in 2, Kern of USA in 3, Meervold in 4. I think they're the only 4 in this race at the moment, as Anja Weber has looked through the legs just to see where the opponents are behind her, and there's only 1 left behind her. So it's Dahlqvist round that final corner in 1st position, and Skistad could be in a spot of bother here, trying to race Kern into the finish. Whoa. America versus Norway, it's going to be tight. Sweden get it, and I think Julia Kern gets that courtesy of a much better lunge. The golden rule might throw your body backwards, your legs forward, which is exactly what Kern did.
Blimey, she did so well, but I didn't realise it was concrete feet on the advertising banner. She pirouetted around into them, but she's okay.
She's okay. Oh, the ski base is okay.
that's the problem. Skistad got that wrong at the end. She really made that difficult for herself on those final 50 metres to the line.
Yeah, she did not want 100% effort over that last 150.
Kern gets the 2nd place by 2/100ths of a second.
2:45.57. We had a 2:40 in the first round, Mike, so it's not that quick. Now, let's have a look. So Skistad, I think Skistad was a little bit slow to pick up the speed. The advantage on that inside of that turn is enormous.
Yeah.
And Julia Kern uses it well. Look at that. She throws her body back an extra 5 degrees. Hopefully we'll get to see it here. Wow. Yeah, a really badly timed lunge. And Skistad's legs must be, 4 inches longer than Kern's. You would have thought she could get that. But she's off balance, and the line comes at just the wrong time.
Julia Kern, she did. Her momentum was stopped by the concrete blocks, but hopefully she's fine.
Yeah, comfortable win. Comfortable win.
I think this is the best we've seen from Julia Kern. She's had some great results in the past, but she's just looking sharper, more complete than ever.
So the second of the semis still to come. I think Nadine Feindrich will have been pretty happy with what she saw there. Dahlqvist has made it through. Juentsu scraped through as a lucky loser, Mike. So Feindrich's tactics very nearly worked, but she gets a 2nd opportunity to knock the Finn out.
She certainly has. Juentsu needs to try and survive the pace. Feindrich is going to press very hard again. That might be bad news for Skistad in terms of qualifying as a lucky loser to the final.
Yeah. To keep the race for the Sprint World Cup alive, Feindrich has to be within 100 points of the Finn, Juentsu, at the end of tonight. She's 157 points behind. So she's got a better Juentsu by 57 points minimum. So if she wins, she needs Juentsu to be outside the top 15, around 7th, 16th, 17th. that's not going to happen.
This is
So
going
I
to be...
think the title is already decided, to be honest.
It's going to be so spicy, Bibbs. 1, 2, and 3, rapid fire.
So we're underway. Feindrich wearing 1 in the middle of your picture. Hagstrom has got 3 on. Don't know where number 2's gone. Yuensu wearing the red bib as the overall World Cup leader. There she is. That's why the 2 isn't showing.
That's right. She's putting a lot of energy out early. Yuensu nervous, trying to hold her status, but Feindrich on the right, I think, will try and pass her, although she is going the long way around. So Yuensu needs to tuck in now behind Feindrich.
Who was the last Finn to win a Crystal Globe?
Ooh, long way back. Koittinen, back in 2011 or 10, maybe? Could be wrong. Feindrich, the skis, everything going well. The glide is great.
So Feindrich, look how static they are on the ski. Far too long, just sort of waiting for the ski to do the turn rather than doing the footwork. But much easier said than done, and I think that's where Skistat went wrong on that last semi, Mike. She just waited for the turn to finish before she started skating again. You have to start the work halfway around the corner.
Yeah, she was caught sleeping. Totally agree with that. Yuensu, I felt that her skis are not gliding as well as Feindrich or those around her, which would be a real shame. We'll get a better chance to see that this time, possibly.
So Feindrich in the red bottoms, leading the inside line. Yuensu of Finland over on the far side in blue, looking good at the moment. This battle likely developed between those two, and they're just eking out a lead of what, a metre and a half over third place. Ignatova up there for Czechia.
Oh, Feindrich has that explosive turn of pace when she's hurting most, but is enough to get rid of the rest of the world, the rest of the field. Yuensu now in a spot of bother.
Yeah, and Hagstrom, who qualified in third place, way off the pace, back in fourth, and 25, 30 metres behind the race leader at the moment. So Feindrich is going to have an easy run in here.
Yuensu, skis are horrible.
Yeah, it's Gina Del Rio who's got up into second place now with some nice work again. This is going to be fantastic. Del Rio of Andorra is going through to a World Cup final. She'll be there with Feindrich, and they will meet Dahlqvist and Kern, who've already made it, and then we've got the lucky losers to be decided. 2:45 Skistat's time, 2:45 was Meerwold's time. I think Ridzek is going to take a slot, and I'm pretty sure that Jasmine Yuensu is going to take a slot in the final as well.
I think they are.
And the celebrations, Mike, because that means that Jasmine Yuensu, not only has she got herself a lucky loser slot, she's got herself the Crystal Globe. She is the sprint champion for 2025. There you go, the smile of a champion. I wonder how she feels for real. She, she can't claim to be the best sprinter in the world, Mike, but she's turned up for more races than anyone else, and she's been consistent.
Well, you've got to be in it to win it. I know that many of the big names rested up and went on the training camps rather than taking part. I agree, but it's great to see her tenacity all the way through. I thought she stood up tall there and really risked getting beaten by Ridzek, but of course they both had good enough times to go through.
Yeah, sixth time that Yuensu's made the final this year from 10 races, so 60% of the time getting through to the last 6. That is why she is the world #1. Well, there's the men's #1. Kleber, there's absolutely no doubt. No one can argue with that. He's done 7 races so far this year in the World Cup. He's won 7. He's done 1 World Championship. He won that as well. No one has got near him so far. Is that going to change today? Can Pellegrino or Valnes find a way past Kleber?
I often think Patrick Klæbo has to get traffic jammed or blocked in or negative scenarios around him, but so few times does he fall, does he break a pole, does he put himself in the wrong place at the wrong time. He's perfect.
Well, the promo for the sprinting events does actually show Klæbo going down, and he cunningly takes someone with him, but I can't remember where it was. So he has fallen before. I know he's broken a pole before. We saw that in Lillehammer once upon a long time ago. But he very, very occasionally makes a mistake, but certainly not in the last 3 seasons. Chandava, well, he's been around long enough, and he's trained with Klæbo enough to know his weaknesses, if he has any. Erik Valnes, Mike, good sprinter, good distance racer. He's a powerhouse.
Yeah, Valnes is almost complete. Doesn't quite have the quick reactions as this man.
Quietly smug. Yeah, you can't blame him. Closing in on 100 World Cup wins. It's astonishing. Federico Pellegrino. Now, if Klæbo hadn't been here, Mike, Pellegrino would have been close to 100 wins.
It's so true. He had, what was it, 16? He wins very few these days. Bib, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 in this lineup. It's going to be fast.
2:21 was the quickest time in the first round. We'll see whether they beat that. The snow is getting a little bit slower. You can see even the flat sections are being cut up. Chandava staying clean. It's all about long glides. Look how direct Klæbo's skis are, straight down the line of the race, dancing from one foot to the other. Now the steeper section, and again, you know, it's a replay of the first round, Mike. Klæbo and Chandava side by side.
And I think slowly but surely they'll try to break this field down, but it's a much stronger field than they had in the heat earlier. This is serious. Amundsen's there to challenge Valnes, no problem. He's strong as well.
Yeah, 4 Norwegians in this semi, if you hadn't worked it out, which is usually bad news for Klæbo. But Klæbo in second place at the moment. Watch this. He'll go to his left. Now he'll try and cut in on the inside of the turn. Chandava may cut him off. And he's got a few Norwegians on the inside. Valnes is there as well. So it's not all going to plan at the moment. Erik Valnes wearing bib number 4. And Klæbo has to do a little bit of extra work on the flat to get back level with the Frenchman Chandava.
It's amazing. As soon as he turns the turbos on, in a space of 80 meters, he's from 4th to challenging first again.
Yeah, he carries great speed into the climb for the second time. Chandava, all about power, but it's all the same tempo for Chandava. Klæbo is capable at any tempo. Pellegrino, the Italian, tucked in behind the yellow bib of Klæbo at the moment, and just fading at the back. Ansgar Evensen of Norway, who got through to the semis, is a lucky loser. He's out of this one already, but still we have 3 Norwegians contending.
This pace is like the pace you'd expect in a final. It's fearsome. Pellegrino's still there. He won't give up.
Yeah, 1:46 at the top of the climb for the second time, Mike. Is Pellegrino going to be able to find a way through? Klæbo usually likes to go on the inside. Didn't manage it last time round. Not quite so packed. Now he drifts over. Chandava's going to be pushed to the outside. Pellegrino goes past the Frenchman as well.
Oh, Chandava nearly leant back there and lost all his momentum.
But Klæbo, easy win. Pellegrino just follows the Norwegian in, and Chandava's legs have gone. I don't think there was any foul play there. He's out for the count. And Yeah, that loss of balance on the corner may be an indication of what was to come. 2:21.1, so a second quicker than any of the first round heats, Mike. So that was pretty powerful.
Well,
half a second.
Well, I think the next semi-final won't match this, so I would imagine Amundsen, Valnes will make it through as lucky losers. What a shame for Shanava doing all of the lead work except the final, 200 metres.
Yeah, what a shame for the spectators. They're enjoying that little battle. Hopefully we'll get to see a replay. This is the uphill section, I think. Or is this the...
Yep, the uphill Klæbo, you're right. The ski goes so direct up the steepest of climbs.
Yeah, Klæbo wanting second place. He's done that on every round so far. Second place down the hill puts you in a position to take the lead going round this corner here. Now, this is where Shanava goes. Loss of balance on the corner, as you picked up, Mike.
Yep.
And then...
I thought someone touched his ski. No, entirely his own fault.
Yeah, he tripped over that right-hand ski. I don't know whether his pole got in the way or whether he just didn't have the strength to lift his leg. We've all been there. We've all been there, and there's nothing he can do from that stage. But that was just, essentially, that was fatigue, Mike.
You know, the one icy 1 metre of patch of snow, I think his edge slipped out entirely from tired legs.
So, 4 qualifiers at the moment from that first semi. I think it's fair to say a higher quality semi-final than we're about to see, but we do add Edvin Anger in here. Jules Chapaz looked fantastic in the first round. Ben Ogden looked lively. Remy Bourdin certainly had a good turn of speed, and so I think it could be just as entertaining as that first semi-final. Let's have a look at the athletes. There's Oscar Opstad-Viker, a name for the future. He's only 21. He's got biceps to die for, if you're that way inclined. Renauget, the Joker who knows how to pull a punch. Just took it easy on the first lap last time. Turned out to be a wise move. Edvin Anger last year in the under-23s. Looks as though he's going to wrap that one up. He's not going to win the overall. He's 300 points behind Klæbo. 3 races still to be scored, tonight's included, and Remy Bourdin, France. Good performance in Trondheim, didn't quite, just missed out on the top 12, just missed out on the semi-finals there. Who has the most hunger? You would have thought Anger, after his disappointment at the World Championships. So, away we go. Keep an eye on the lime green bib. He's the favourite for this semi. Chapaz wearing 9. Ben Ogden of USA wearing 8. Just trying to pick out Ogden. Has he gone up into second place on the far side of Anger? He has.
He has, yeah. He looked very good earlier. Chapaz on the left side as we look down. Different strategy this time.
Yeah, Ogden finding out that when you're alongside Anger, you need to be a long way away.
Give that man space.
Yeah, give him space. He's, you know, Anger has every right to ski freely. Ogden, in the end, wisely ducking in behind. Now, if anyone produces a decent slipstream, it is Edvin Anger. So we may well find Ogden just nipping through into the lead if his skis are running well.
I like the way that Anger is fearless to lead. It's never an advantage on such a long descent because the group are always going to haul you back in.
Yeah, nice cornering. Anger perhaps held static for longer than anyone else, but being in the lead, he had the right position to do so. And Ogden this time is just going to have to follow. He won't get that inside line this time unless Anger moves out to the side, which he does. Anger looking for that firmer snow. And if he can stay in front, then he'll cut the corner at the top. This is where Ogden could do with digging 100%. If he can get level with the Swede, then he could put some pressure on him into the plateau at the top and then into that descent.
Jules Chapaz still a threat on the left side, been behind Anger. Ben Ogden great tonight all the way through. Vika maybe still has a chance. I think he keeps believing he will have.
Yeah, we haven't mentioned Chapaz's name, sitting in third at the moment. Remy Baudin hasn't made a move so far. Vika has been in fourth pretty much from the start, still back in fourth, but he's only got 200 metres to make his move. Anger leads, Ogden in two, Chapaz in three for France, and trying to move up on the outside of the American. But it's Anger who has the advantage around that final corner, and Ogden's in a good position if he can find some space now. He moves to his left, but the power of Anger is too much. He's going through to the final, and Chapaz craftily works his way up into second place, 2:22. No lucky losers, so Ogden is out, Baudin is out, Vika and Jay, that is the end of their day. But good racing from Chapaz, Mike. He kept it very, very quiet until that last 300 metres.
Very clever, different game. What a pity for Ben Ogden if Ben is actually out. Yes, I believe he is.
Yeah, Valnes and Amundsen are the lucky losers from that first semi-final.
Ben, I thought Ben had done everything right as well, but Chapaz just sneaked through towards the end.
Yeah, Ogden had to work hard on that second climb, Mike, to block Anger, and I think that just sapped him for that final sprint. Anger, Chapaz, Ogden, number 14, Remy Baudin, never really got a look in, and 2:22.64, the winning time of that second semi. Start your stopwatches just to see how little time they get between their second semi and the final. It is not a lot, an advantage really, Mike, to Klæbo and Pellegrino. Anger second fastest qualifier for the final, but will he recover in an absolute cracker? So there's the lineup for the women's final. Feindrich of Switzerland, she's done everything she could to close the gap on Yasmi Yuensu, but the Finn has squeezed through to the final, and she has the crystal globe in the bag to take home to Finland with her. So 6 left from a field of 59. Coletta Idzek goes for Germany. It's been an exciting season for her. Only the third time she's made a final. On both occasions she's finished in 6th place. Yasmi Yuensu, the new Sprint World Cup champion. That red bib is staying with her all the way through the summer months. I bet she does a bit of roller skiing in that over the summer just to keep herself motivated. Julia Kern of the USA. Look, one of the stars tonight, Mike. She's found her form at the end of the season.
Oh, she's sparky, she can react, she's got everything. She's got the power, the pace, and the drive.
Yeah, and the only American to make it through to the semi-finals of the World Championships. Nadine Feindrich, silver medal in Trondheim, just behind, in Falun, the last of the World Cups. Maya Dahlqvist, she's been around, she knows every trick in the book when it comes to cross-country ski sprinting. And at 30, she might need a few of those tricks to win this one. Gina Del Rio, revelation of the day, Mike. Sensational to see her through to the top 6.
And you know, she might surprise us in this final for a win, certainly for a podium.
Yeah, made the semis in the Worlds. She could win this one. It's certainly not out of the question. She looked pretty fresh in the semi-final. They are underway. Feindrich in red is the hot favourite for this one. But Yuensu, Mike, wouldn't she love to win a World Cup this season, to go with that crystal globe? Because there's nothing, you know, it cannot be as satisfying to win the overall World Cup without a single victory.
Yes, she will be aware of that, but I felt that the burden had been lifted off her. She looked so much more relaxed. She knows she's the crystal globe winner for the sprint competition, and she seems a lot lighter. That burden is off her shoulders now, but she will be tired now that she realizes she's got it anyway.
Yeah, there's been an adrenaline burst, and there's been a burst of speed from Feindrich as well. Del Rio has gone with her, and sitting in third place at the moment is Maja Dahlqvist of Sweden, and they've opened up a little bit of a gap. Juentzu back in fourth at the moment. Oh, Del Rio, some nifty little footwork, but she's so light on her feet. She's a fantastic skier. Don't know about her background, Mike, but I would absolutely hazard a guess that she's done a lot of alpine skiing in her day.
I believe she has. She says that's where her upbringing was, or her balance and movement was created, but she's got so much endurance and strength now, and she's not going to let go of Feindrich easily.
Yeah. Dahlqvist waiting on the shoulder of Del Rio. The top three are away, but they've taken it fairly easy over the flat section, and that's allowed Juentzu back into this one. But you just feel that Feindrich is going to push the button at any stage, perhaps when it gets steep, when it gets hardest, opening up 2 meters or so over Del Rio of Andorra. Dahlqvist over on the far side in second place at the moment, and Dahlqvist will be trying to mastermind the perfect descent to give us some speed into those final corners.
Julia Kern coming through on the outside again, as she did the last time.
Yeah, good racing from Kern, up into third. I think that is the end of Del Rio. She's looking so tired at the top. She's lost another 5 meters or so, but Feindrich is clear. She's got 15 meters over Dahlqvist at the moment, and Julia Kern's going to have to do something very special in the closing stages. Switzerland leading. Feindrich looking for her second win of the season. She won in Val di Fiemme on the Tour de Ski. Is she going to win here at the end of the season? I think it's pretty much a foregone conclusion. Dahlqvist ups the pace for the finish. Kern trying to get in there. She's going on the podium, but she won't be able to catch the Swede. And it's Feindrich who takes the win. Dahlqvist too. Kern delighted with a third place, so she should be. And Del Rio of Andorra, fourth place. But my goodness, she put up a good fight. Coletta Ridzek never really in it. And Jasmine Juentzu, I think the adrenaline rush, Mike, of winning the overall World Cup, getting the better of her for that last run.
Yeah, you know, the release, the joy. She wasn't quite the same fighter we saw this time in the final, maybe as expected. And yeah, she finished in sixth. So many fifth places this season, and now sixth. But to win that Crystal Globe, well done to her.
So another day dusted for the women, and they have 48 hours to recover now before the last sprint of the season, which takes place in Lahti. It's another freestyle race. Just trying to remember, the Lahti course is quite tough, isn't it, Mike? I like it. 2 big climbs, and then that long descent that leads down into the stadium, and a 400-meter sprint essentially for the finish.
It's brutal. It's incredible. It's the last race. And I'm just thinking, Julia Kern, congratulations. I mean, the first ever podium. What an achievement. Yes, she's done it in the team races at the World Champs with Jessie Diggins, but in a World Cup, it's her first.
Yeah, and Feindrich, who we mentioned earlier, won the Engadin Marathon this year. It was desperately close. Both the men and the women's races come down to a sprint. If it's going to be a sprint finish, you want to be a specialist sprinter. And Feindrich made it look pretty easy. Julia Kern,
yeah,
that's a smile from one ear to the other.
Back at her best. She did actually take a bronze previously at the World Cup. My mistake, way back in 2020 in Planitia. But this is the best. She's got distance racing now. She can sprint. We always knew she could sprint, but she's been achieving so well at every distance this season. Feindrich was just fearless from the word go. The form is there. Her confidence has never been higher. Destroying the field.
When was that? Beginning of February, so some time ago, but it was still a convincing win. Dahlqvist always seems to be put in the shade by Sundling and Svan, Mike.
She does. Historically, she had one brilliant season, well, leading into the last Olympics. Had won many, and then not quite at her best form at the Olympics.
Yeah, Sundling is the queen when it comes to the majors.
Certainly is.
Yeah, I'm very happy this year. Skating, I felt better in Classic, but I know I don't will lose completely in skating, and I know I will come back if I do it more often, and I'm happy that I'm back.
How was the sprint final here in Tallinn?
It was really hard. It's a tough track, but I really like it, and I just try to go as fast as I can.
You're also fighting for a podium in the Sprint World Cup. Only one sprint left now. How does that feel?
Yeah, it feels very good, but I just try to focus on my job, to do my best what I can and go run for run.
Congratulations, Nadine.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, she's opened up a big gap over Sundling. Maja Dahlqvist, I think, is going to have moved up into third place. But Findrich still long way clear. Can't catch Yasmi Uensu. We should get the rankings fairly shortly as we have a look at the results of the final. Lotterdamsveng down in 20. Norwegians noticeable by their absence in the last 6. Mike Skistad, Mirvold both raced out in the semi-finals. That he was spotted leaving the stadium after that 50k in a car in floods of tears. It finally got the better of him.
Yeah.
And no wonder. And we talked earlier about the motivation. What do you do when you've won every single medal, every single gold medal at a World Championships? What is it that motivates you? You know, he's won the overall World Cup. He wins the sprint every year he goes for it. But what does he do next? Is it the Olympics? What is it that's going to inspire him?
Well, do you know that next year at the Olympics, he may well be inspired to do the same, try and win every gold medal that's available, that's on offer. Not an easy task, but the motivation must drop away at some time when this is a normal for him. He has to put the big hours in. We know he puts huge hours in the summer to make him stronger than the rest. Can he keep that going for many more years?
Well, I'll tell you what, I've been thinking over the last couple of days, whether peace in Ukraine, part of the deal will be that Russia can race in sporting events again. And that may well be on the cards. And if that's the case, he's going to have to do it with Bolshunov on the start list.
That would change things.
Certainly make it harder. So let's look at the lineup for the last race of the night. The men's final, Federico Pellegrino, a brilliant silver medal at the World Championships. Jules Chapaz, 4th place in the Worlds, just a fraction of a second behind Vuorinen of Finland, who's dropped out early here today. Valnes, who missed that World Championship sprint with a back injury. He did come back to claim gold in the team sprint alongside this man, Johannes Østfold Klæbo. Last position, he was here first, of course. Of course he was first here in Tallinn. It meant a lot actually last time. He was really excited to race here, wasn't he?
He was, and he said, and the course profile absolutely suits him. Every course profile suits him, which is strange.
Yeah, and Anger has to persuade himself that the course suits him as well. I'm not sure it does quite as much. That last corner is difficult for a man of 6'5". Here we go, the last race. Klæbo, Anger, Pellegrino, Chapaz, Valnes, Amundsen. Everyone there, an established sprinter, except perhaps for Amundsen, who's over on the far side wearing 6. And Amundsen, Mike, I think will not play tactics. He'll just try and go as hard as he can, but at the moment being blocked by Jules Chapaz.
Chapaz has gone out with only one intention. Is it a wise strategy? I'm not sure it is. And if Anger in second place on the right side, if he gets an opportunity, I think he will try and lead, but he's not going to get that chance. Oh yes, he might.
Yeah, Klæbo's been second down the hill on every occasion. He'll be delighted to see Anger come through, but he gets squeezed back into third, so things aren't quite going to plan at the moment. Slightly surprised that Amundsen hasn't pushed his way to the front, but we've got Sweden, followed by France, 3 Norwegians, and then at the back, Federico Pellegrino, but never rule him out even at this stage. But he does not want to be too far behind starting the second climb.
Klæbo's pace there, he stayed to the edge, the more ice and snow, he carried more speed. I know his skis are always great. Anger is going to try and break the field, but he simply can't break Klæbo, I'm quite sure.
Well, I think Klæbo will be pretty happy with this at the moment if Anger goes on the inside, but I don't think he will, because we saw him last time always drifting across to the right, and this is an opportunity for someone to get through on the inside. Klæbo has to be very, very careful now. Pellegrino is there, Chapaz is there as well. We've lost Amundsen now, which is no major surprise. Now the injection of speed from Klæbo, but he's on the outside. He's got to go 4-5 meters further than Jules Chapaz of France. And now he's in the perfect position for the second downhill.
Anger got himself trapped in. He could not get through. He's lost 3 positions in the blink of an eye.
Pellegrino, he's been up to second, back down to 5th at the moment. Anger, I think, is going to get squeezed out on this one. Chapaz it is, leading the way into the final corner. He's got Klæbo on the outside now. I think everyone expecting him to go on the inside. This is a risky tactic from the Norwegian. Can he stay on course? Of course he can, but it's still France leading into the home straight now. Chapaz doesn't want to give Klæbo too much room. He doesn't need it. 3 or 4 strides, accelerates again, and may be celebrating just a fraction too early. Well done for Amundsen to getting up into 3. Pellegrino pushed into 4, Anger in 5. It was actually Erik Valnes who dropped out. I thought it was Amundsen. But well done to Amundsen, Mike. That's a brilliant podium finish.
That is sensational, considering that his output in Oslo just a few days ago. Amundsen, he is a sprinter, he's a distance specialist, and maybe that's making up for his fatigue in the 50 kilometre at the World Championships.
So he pulls a few points back on Anger, but I think he needed a few more. 80 points 60 points actually for Amundsen. And Anger down in 5th, picking up just, what is it? 80 odd, 75.
I'm just thinking, how do you beat Klæbo? He was very clever staying on the rock-solid track on the right side. He was free skating fast. It was high-risk strategy because he was going to get a slingshot or blown out on the corner, but he took that risk. And I'm just thinking, if Chapaz had held that line, had blocked that journey, well, I suppose Klæbo would have just taken him on the left side.
Yeah,
unbeatable.
Well done, Klabs. Just a delight to see the look on the faces of the spectators when they get to shake hands with the great Johannes Husfeldt Klæbo, greatest cross-country skier of all time, in my opinion. And certainly he cemented that with his success in Trondheim. He's come here to Tallinn and shown us what he can do. So many champions, Mike, after the Worlds just fade away dramatically, exhausted from their efforts, but not Johannes Husfeldt Klæbo. And he went for something different on that last corner.
He did. It was risky business. We'll see it again, hopefully. And he had to put a lot of energy out here to get round Anger. And then Anger was kind of got in a mess here. He tripped himself up as he allowed Pellegrino, Chapaz and Pellegrino almost through.
Yeah, I wonder if Chapaz was expecting Klæbo to come on the inside. And Klæbo was thinking, well, he'll try and block me by cutting in, which he did. But then Chapaz, realising the Norwegian was on the outside, and he let himself drift right over to the right-hand side, reminiscent of the 50K in Oberstdorf many years ago.
Amundsen had the best lunge. Oh, fractions.
That was tight.
Tiny
that
fractions.
Was tight. Yeah, still the photo hasn't been decided, actually. That was so close. When it's a toenail, it's pretty easy to see, Mike, but that... It was a slightly blurry image on my screen, but I think that might be a draw. Or is Chapaz getting second? That celebration might suggest he's got second. Still waiting.
It's hard to call that one. Very hard to call. Could it be a draw? We don't see many draws when you're working to 1/100th. At the moment, I did think it was Amundsen. I thought the lunge was well timed.
Well, if Amundsen was leading an inch before the line, Shabazz was leading an inch after it.
The jury studying it endlessly right now. There they are. Get 5 brains on it.
Hardest thing they've had to do today.
I think they have to call that a draw. Given the fact that they haven't been able to identify it yet, I would say that should be equal second.
So Klæbo's got the overall crown back off Amundsen this year, Mike.
Yes, and you know, Klæbo was he picked and sort of cherry-picked his races, made sure that he had form for the World Championships. But his sprinting prowess is carrying him, isn't it? Every time with the points he wins in sprinting.
Yeah, Klæbo went into today's race with a lead of 298 points, with 300 points still on the table. He picks up 100 today, so he is home and dry. So the 2 overall winners, Jess Diggins has retained her title, 3rd time she's won the overall, not racing here tonight. And Johannes Husfeldt Klæbo has done it yet again. Wouldn't really be fair if he didn't get the overall crown after what he's done this year.
It's a draw. No, it's not. They've given it to Amundsen.
They've given it to Amundsen?
Oh, no. It's a draw.
What?
It's a draw.
It's quite right.
Yep.
Quite right, yeah. Impossible to split. In that shot, it looks like Amundsen, but the tip of Shabazz's boot is a slightly different colour, which makes you feel that he hasn't reached the line.
We don't often see a draw with as on 100th of a second.
Years ago, you said this was a little bit of a home soil since your grandfather lives there. How does it feel now?
It feels really good. Last time I saw him was here 2 years ago, so I saw him now before the race started, and it looks in good shape, and it's always fun to race here when you have your family cheering for you.
And how was the final? It was quite tight there.
It is always tight here. I feel like it's a difficult track, but it's also a lot of fun, and I mean, we all want to do more of this kind of city sprints, so hopefully in the future we'll continue to do this.
And how is the body now? 3 races left?
We will still have some power left, so I'm looking forward for the last weekend now, and more motivated this week than last week, so that's a good sign.
Congratulations, Jonas.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Oslo was tough for him. He finished 3rd in the 10K. He's back to winning ways today. 2:22.92 the winning time. Shabazz and Amundsen sharing 2nd place, and Pellegrino missing out on this occasion.